Hi, we're going to get started on a section called 2 hours, all the difference. And what this really means is that the most important things you can do in your career can usually be accomplished within 2 hours. I used to sit down with agents all the time and they'd say, well, what do you need me to do? And I would make a list of tasks for them. And they'd say, well, this is only going to take about 2 hours a day. And I'd say, yeah. And they'd say, well, what do you want me to do with the rest of the day? And I say, I don't know, don't care. Because I know if you get these 2 hours in every day, everything's going to be great. Okay? So schedule time blocks. Again, the important is seldom urgent. The urgent is seldom important. So schedule breaks too. I want to begin by talking about the power hour. So in the morning, this is not my material. It comes from a guy named Stephen Covey. Great book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He had what he called the power hour. He said that you should begin every day in 20-minute segments. 20 minutes of exercise, 20 minutes of quiet time, or just kind of hanging out and making some notes and things like that. And 20 minutes of organizing your day and organizing your day. This is important. Organize for impact. Okay? Organize intentionally, purposefully for impact. What does impact look like? Everything that's important in your life, okay? It might be, I was single, I was a single Mr. Mom for several years. And every Wednesday night, we had meatballs at Spaghetti Warehouse. My children, many times I'd be sitting there talking with them, and they'd be like, oh, you got to go back out on an appointment, and it'd be 6, 7 o'clock at night. I'd say, yeah, but it's Tuesday, and you know what tomorrow night is, right? So it was a message to them that that time, that they were not only important, but they were more important, because they knew I never scheduled over Wednesday nights. On Sundays, for 20 years in the business, at a very, very high level of productivity as a private practitioner of real estate, selling 100 to 300 houses a year, we didn't work on Sundays. I know, sounds crazy. But I would tell people I spend Sundays at church and with my family. And if you need me, and you can text me or page me in those days and tell me it's an emergency, I will call you back, or you can call me in the evening from 6 to 6:30. But most of the time I prefer to take that time with the family. Never had problem one with it, never cost me a dime. So I'll give you another time management tip. You were talking to a buyer. What do most agents say? When do you want to see that house? A better conversation might be, I have availability to show you that house on Tuesday night or Thursday night at 6 o'clock. Which do you prefer? Now, I know market conditions sometimes intervene and you need to get into that house quickly. But I'm saying, start that conversation on that basis, and all of a sudden you're going to find that magical things happen. I was trained into time management. One of the guys that I was trained into it had 8 children, and he, at 5:30 at night, he quit every day. And he taught me some really cool things about scheduling your time. And the first and most important one is, don't ask, tell them when you're available. I used to tell people all the time, I would like to show you these houses during the day. The light's better, the availability's better, you're not tired, you're making a mission critical, crucial life decision. Do you have a personal day available? Do you have days off? Can we make some kind of a carve out so that we can get out there with fresh energy, look at these houses? This is an important decision. Very, very seldom did I ever have an evening appointment. So this is really important. Schedule breaks, work in sprints for longer projects. One of my mentors, a guy named Ralph Williams, first year in the real estate business, listed 270 houses, took a 15-minute break on every hour to make sure that he was fresh for the next hour. Great coach. Use the rocks in the box idea. Make sure that the most important things are done at first. Stephen Covey tells a story where he has a big, giant glass container and he puts a bunch of rocks in there, and he says to a class, is this full now? And they say yes, and then he puts smaller rocks in. And he says, is it full now? And then he puts sand in, and then he puts water in, and then he says, what's the moral of the story? And they said, Well, that you can get a lot of stuff in a glass container. And he said, no, the moral of the story is put the big rocks in first, the most important things, because it's the sand and the water that consume some of us some of the time. Okay?